And yet we talk about in the Bible, God ordering murders of babies, who was not pro-life, by the way. And then you say, well, I'm going to have to go back and I'm going to have to read that. Every time I present you facts, you're ignorant to facts, whether it's about Donald Trump or the Bible.
All right. I'm going to ask you a tough question, and I hope Brian doesn't get upset or something like this. But what would you say if somebody were to say that the Bible is a fairy tale? What would you be if somebody were to say that and believe it?
Oh, well, so here's the thing. I was raised to believe the Bible is literally factually true. And now I see it as like an inspirational text, no different than any other culture of people bringing together oral tradition and stories. And I think we use metaphors and examples and made up things all the time to teach lessons and keep stories passed down in our culture. So to me, I'm like, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
I don't think Brian has a problem with that.
Somebody wrote a book. If you want to believe it, go ahead and believe it.
But don't enforce it on other people. You can believe whatever you want,
exactly.
But doesn't mean someone else should live by your fairy tale, or even if you think it's facts.
Okay, well, as you know, there's a lot of good advice in the Bible. I know
they kill babies. They have no problem with killing babies in the Bible, but you're pro-life, right, Al? What would you say about that? Nicole, am I right on that?
Where are they killing babies? Where are they killing babies in the Bible? Where?
In the Bible, it talks about massacring babies, okay?
Just killing, they would kill all the women and children when they would take over land, when God killed all the Egyptian babies under the age of 2. There's mass murders ordered by God.
So if there are mass murders ordered by God and babies are killed in the Bible, then why won't you allow women to have abortions, Al? Why do you want to tell a woman what to do with her own body? Since you don't think any of the Bible is fairy tale, please answer my question for me.
Which the questions you just asked, the one about why?
Do I stutter? I'll ask it again. Al. Okay. In the Bible, as Nicole, who used to be a pastor, knows best, she probably knows more about the Bible than you do. It does talk about God. We agree. It does talk about God massacring babies and women. God ordered it. So if God can order massacring and murdering babies, why won't you let a woman do what she wants to do with her own body? Since you live and die by the Bible.
I have to read where the Bible. There is also some.
I have to read. He says.
Pam Bondi.
Yeah. Well, what a Pam Bondi answer. Nicole is right. Nicole just said that was a Pam Bondi answer. I have to take a look at that. No, Al, you're not impersonating Pam Bondi. That's Nicole's job today.
Okay, well, can I answer my question?
As long as you don't sound like Pam Bondi, you're welcome to, sir.
Okay, well, the thing is this. I can also tell you that in the Bible, there are some places where God orders the people. God orders the Israelites or one of his followers to go kill another group. Maybe because he felt they were evil. So, it doesn't say not murder, but he did order people to kill.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
There is.
Well, listen, in the Bible. Al, do you speak to God? All right. Well, Al, do you speak to God? Because I spoke to God this morning. I woke up this morning.
Okay.
And I had a conversation with God. And God said, Brian, there's a guy named Al who's going to call into your show today, and he wears the Donald Trump knee pads 24/7. Listen, I spoke.
First of all,
why are you laughing, Al? Why are you laughing, Al?
I wear the hour knee pad.
Why are you laughing?
I don't wear the.
Why is my relationship with God funny to you? I spoke to God today, and that's what God told me.
Okay.
He told me that you're going to have a man.
I don't know.
God told me you're going to have a man calling your show today that is going to answer questions just like Pam Bondi answers, and he's not going to be acting. That's actually that. Listen, I have a relationship with God, Al, so you can't mock my relationship with God, right?
Okay, well,
you have your relationship, and you probably claim that God tells you to vote for a 34-count felon liable sexual abuser. My relationship to God tells me that when idiots, with all due respect, when idiots call into this show and they want to claim that everything in the Bible is fact, and yet we talk about in the Bible God ordering murders of babies, who was not pro-life, by the way, and then you say, well, I'm going to have to go back and I'm going to have to read that. Every time I present you facts, you're ignorant to facts, whether it's about Donald Trump or the Bible. Don't call in and start preaching the Bible when you don't even know what's in it. You sound like Donald Trump when he says, the Bible's my favorite book. I can't read one passage in the book, and then he holds the Bible upside down. Okay, Mr. Bondi?
Well, what about when I supported the fact that God was ordering people to go kill other people?
You know, my problem with that is then at any point someone could say, well, God told me to go murder those people because he said they're evil. So, like, who's now deciding who can murder who? If we all have a personal relationship with God and I say, God told me I can go slaughter all these people,
Yeah, exactly.
there's that. But I want you to, I think I have a research homework assignment for you, Al. Okay. I'd love for you to
Okay.
go home and research how many murders God is personally responsible for. So, like, how many orders of mass murders he
Yeah.
issued and how many murders Satan is responsible for.
I think that's a good homework assignment, but Al, I'll leave you with this, okay? Your Cheeto,
Okay, no problem.
your Cheeto Jesus God released over 600 violent criminals from January 6th. That's your God, okay? My God says that's disgusting and it's wrong, but we'll leave it at that. Mr. Bondi, thank you for calling into the show and thank you for your Pam Bondi answer to the Bible.
I want to say this, Brian. So, like, I don't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head, so I have to go online. But there's been research done on how many murders God is responsible for in the Bible and how many Satan is.
Yeah.
And God's like, you know, hundreds of thousands or maybe millions. And Satan's responsible for like a handful. So if there's anyone
Yeah.
who's pro-life,
Yeah.
it's not God.
By the way, Jen on social media said Al is definitely going to research Nicole, all right, but it's not going to be the research that you
And call it
Thank you.
Pastor. He's
Yeah.
going to look up Pastor
Al,
Nicole.
Al will definitely do some research.